It should be recording now. Hopefully I don't have problems with the audio, but yeah, I'm pretty excited. See who our guest today. Holden. Hey, what's up? What's up? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Let me put my
Good.
headphones in.
No problem. Take your time, man. Holden, right?
Yeah.
You look so young, Holden. How old are you, Holden?
26.
Oh, 26. Okay.
How old did you think I was?
I thought you were a little in your when I was watching your Instagram, I feel like you're a little older since you're married. I'm 24, but I'm not married yet, and I don't see getting married anytime soon. But like, yeah, you look very young and 26. But I'm very excited to be able to speak with you, Holden. I'm really excited. Thank you again for coming to the podcast. So the podcast is pretty much go with the flow weddings. It's pretty much we just kind of like converse about your business, and we just go with the flow.
Great.
Yeah, but
yeah, that sounds fun.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, so first of all, I saw your work on the Instagram, and it's pretty awesome, man. Like what you put out there, the Elopement videographer, and I know you're a team what do you call it, a company with your wife, right, Caitlin?
Yes, husband, wife, team.
Husband. Okay, so if you can give me a little background about what you do with with your business, and how long have you been doing elopement videography specifically, but tell me a little about the story of how you guys started out.
So we were doing normal weddings for a while, and I guess I was doing them for 3 or 4 years, and then we did an adventure session with one of our couples, and that was so much more fun than the actual wedding. So we were like, well, let's see what we can do with this. And then we found out that adventure elopements were a thing. And so we rebranded a few years ago, and we are Backcountry Vows now. And then we only do adventure elopements.
I love it, man. Like when I went on your Instagram, it's like what you put out there. It's really like specific, which is more of like adventure, elopement vibe. I feel like that's so cool that you kind of stick with it. Like not being able to not offering bigger weddings, but just sticking with elopement weddings. So you've been in you've been doing videography for weddings for more than 4 years now, aside from elopement.
So I was doing it as like a side job. I was second shooting for probably 2-3 years. And then I started my business. And then I did that for a year in normal weddings here in Denver. And then after that, I rebranded, and we've been Backcountry Vows for a little over 2 years now.
Okay. So you both are from Denver?
No, I'm originally from Hawaii. And then my wife is from Minnesota. But I've been in Denver for about 12 years now.
Okay, so where are you both located now?
So we are in Denver.
Denver.
We're not originally from here.
Okay, how's the weather there, man?
Oh, it's nice. It's beautiful today. It's all blue skies, and we got like probably 1.5 feet of snow the other day, but now it's all warming up and all melting away.
So Denver is in Colorado. So I know like Colorado is a big name, like a main thing for like elopements. So, are your weddings mostly in, Colorado?
I'd say about 90% of our weddings are in Colorado right now. And then we have one in Utah. I think we're going to have another one in Yosemite. I'm really hoping to do something in Alaska, depending on like what our schedule is like this year, but just kind of depends where we go.
Yeah, so I'm actually a wedding videographer, so I don't do a lot of elopements, but 90% of my weddings are bigger weddings. And like I've seen a lot of like what I call a pattern where a lot of like videographers or photographers kind of want to transition to elopement, and I feel like I've only done once, and I just love the vibe of that day, with elopement. But like I know I have a friend as well who's trying to branch out with a wedding videographer who's trying to branch out as a wedding, videographer to a elopement videographer. What would you say for them to kind of like branching out from a bigger wedding to elopement? Like what would you want to recommend to them, like to be able to be successful? Because you guys seems like you guys been doing a lot of like elopement weddings, which is awesome. Like you guys get to go to cool places, but like for someone that's doing, wedding videography for bigger weddings, what would you advise them to be able to transition to elopement?
I think that's a great question. I always say, tell people to show what you want to do. So if you don't want to do weddings anymore, try and take out what you can from the wedding and make it look like an elopement, and then slowly start rebranding and change the wording on your website to we're elopements or we're weddings and elopements. And then you can slowly start to transition into doing more of the work that you want. When we started out in normal weddings, we didn't really like the super big weddings. So we tried to just do smaller and intimate weddings. So that's typically what we showed. And even if they were a bigger wedding, I would redo the video for our own purposes and make it look like it was something that we wanted on our brand.
I love it, man. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel like, it's really important to, what you show out there to be able to attract those couples. But anyway, let's to the sidetrack. I found you on Clubhouse the other day. I think it was a few weeks ago. But I was in that weird
That's
room
awesome.
where, no, it wasn't a weird room, but like you were one of the I think hosts. And I just hear this, like, I was in my car driving, and then there was just this, girl talking about, like, it was kind of like a chill vibe room. And I love the conversation that you guys have. It's just kind of like random, but yeah, I think that's the first time I think I saw you, like, heard you talking through Clubhouse. But yeah, I mean, your work's amazing, man. Like, I feel like, it's so hard to be able to put out there that's really consistent with, with elopement. And I feel like, especially when you're starting out, I feel like, it's kind of hard to get to an elopement, because, like, I feel like my question to you is, like, what are couples looking for in an elopement video, right? I feel like, whenever I'm talking with speaking with a photographer that does elopement, it seems like, video is not a priority for them. It's kind of like compared to photos, but like, I feel like, it's sometimes they only want like the hourly, they just want the ceremony, film. But like what's the, the disadvantage or kind of like the cons of like being an elopement videographer? What have you seen that, that you encounter being as an elopement compared to bigger weddings?
Well, I think it's so new in the photographer world, it's like relatively new, but even for video, it's like so new that not a lot of people, they think that having an elopement is like, oh, we're doing it because we want to save money. But in reality, you're probably spending, we spent, I think, 12 grand on our wedding. And I feel like a lot of people spend 10 to 15, depending on what you do on your like whole week adventure, or what you do out there, and what kind of photographer you're going with. So for us, it was a challenge. I know that when we first rebranded, we were charging half our normal rate just to get into the area. And then now we're back up to our rate. And it's hard because we find a lot of people that are like in that mix of, oh, we like want a video, but we don't know if we can afford it because we paid a lot for our photographer. And so we find it challenging to get consistent people that want, like, if they really want it, they're willing to pay for it, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that in your link bio on Instagram, it did say like why. I looked at it and it says like why video is important, for your wedding. Why or something like that, like why you should hire a videographer for your wedding day. I love that how you put that in your bio on the Instagram, and then you click on it and it takes you to why it's important. So do you still struggle, or do you have like couples that are still in the mix like right now? Like, is it still hard for you to get couples that are looking for video for elopements?
It's easier nowadays. We are booking up, but not as fast as like a photographer. Like, I have a lot of friends who are in the elopement world they have like 30 plus weddings already, and we're at like 10 right now. But it's like all those weddings are pre-wedding season in Colorado, so it's like a super interesting booking time for us right now. For us, it's super important to get a videographer because a lot of people are coming to elope just because they want to have something more intimate, and they still want to include their family. But a lot of the things that we do as adventure elopement people is like, we're going on a hike, or we're going on some, renting some Jeeps, or doing something that their family may or may not be able to handle. And that includes altitude. And like, they might not be able to handle coming up here to Colorado and just being at a resort or something. So for the video side of it, it's like we find a lot of people wanting something to be able to include their family, and that's more like you can experience it more. You feel the emotion of the day, you feel the excitement, you feel the love, and that's something that we find a lot of people are starting to look for more on their elopement days.
I feel like elopements are such an intimate thing. I haven't been to a lot, but I could imagine how intimate it is when you're like alone up in the mountain and stuff. But like, you know, I could imagine your gear, like going to this adventure. How is that like, man? Like, how is that like going to like, you know, going to the mountains carrying? I don't know what gears you have currently, but I'm sure like, you know, what I have is like I'm bringing my lights, my tripods, but like, how is that for you guys, like carrying all of the stuff, all of those stuff? I'm sorry for my English.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it was a challenge trying to figure out a good way to carry and shoot and make sure we're bringing exactly what we need. We kind of had to fine tune our gear, because for a normal wedding, I had, you know, backup camera, backup lenses, backup audio, and I had like 10 sources of audio plugging into everything, and then backup tripod, all this stuff. But like for elopements and hiking up to, you know, I think we did a backpacking one last year, and I had to like specifically like what do I need to bring? How do I have a backup for it? And then where's my backup camera going to be? And then because where we were going, I couldn't bring the drone, so that was nice. Cut a little bit of weight, but it is like we're shooting on Panasonic S1s, and then we have a A7S3 right now, and the S1s
nice.
are like 10 pounds a piece. You know, they're so heavy. But yeah, it's been a challenge to figure out a way to bring exactly what you need and like try not to bring too many backups, because it's
and I'm sure like it's, you know, it could be overwhelming, you know, imagine like leaving your, you know, one of your equipment, you know, and you're up in this mountain, but like I could imagine that like, you know, like that's great that you had the Sony A7S3. How are you liking it, by the way?
I think it's an amazing camera. We got it because it's very hard to hike backwards with a heavy pack up a mountain and like film people and like try to pull focus, because we do everything manual. And so I was like, okay, we need like a camera for hiking up that we can use to like autofocus and just get some really awesome shots like on a gimbal. So we invested in that, and man, it's so crazy.
Are you using gimbal? Are you using a gimbal when you're doing elopements?
We will be. Last year I shot most of it handheld. If I was solo, I definitely did it all handheld. And then if my wife came, one of us would be on the gimbal, and then one of us would be shooting tights on a 70 to 200.
Okay, so what lens? So you 70 to 100. So what lens are you mostly using throughout the day with yourself?
So I am generally on like a 16 to 35, and then we had an 85 for a while, because that lens is so amazing. But it was, for what we were doing, it was challenging to get the detail shots that we liked. So we had to move it up to the 70 to 200. And with the S1, it's the stabilization built into them is so amazing. So we could shoot it all handheld, and it looks like you're on a monopod or something.
What about the Sony A7S3? How is that like with hand holding that one?
It's good. It's lighter, so it's like a lot easier to work with, but I can tell the difference in the like stabilization from the S1 to the A7S3.
So you're saying the S1's better for it comes to stabilization?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, it's all preference, you know. That camera's going to be living on a gimbal, so it's going to be a little different here after like once the season starts.
That's great. I mean, yeah, that's great that you were able to come up with like, you know, condensing your, you know, equipments going to a mountain or such. But yeah, I mean, like for me, I really want to transition to an elopement, just because I feel I've only been to one, so I feel like it just has that flexibility. But like, what do you like about the elopements that, like, you know, why you guys want to do that? Like, what's the story behind it? Why you guys want to do like the elopements videography compared to a bigger wedding?
For us, it was about the feeling of the day. Like we did a lot of high-end weddings, and it wasn't really it seemed like it was more about the people and not about the couple themselves. And when we filmed an elopement, we realized that the day is or the week or whatever is completely about them and their relationship together. And a lot of times they're trying to find something that means, they're trying to find a wedding day or that is super meaningful to them. So I just feel like there's so much more of a connection on a wedding day. And as a videographer, like we're really looking for all those emotions, and it just adds so much more to it. And it's so much more meaningful to us to create and capture something like that. Where was
And
your elopement?
I had my elopement at the Foxfire house. I just literally my recent video, and it was like a Monday wedding, and there was only 19 people, and like I feel like it was the best video that I created just because I feel like there's so much time that you could play around with, especially with like portraits with a couple. You have so many time with it, and the video turned out so great because it really should capture those couple like together. So I think I feel like the bigger wedding I don't mind as well, just because I'm starting out as well in the wedding industry. This will be my first year full time, so hopefully with COVID, nothing will change. But like a worst case scenario, it will be they want to do elopements. I know a lot of couples with the COVID, they want to transition to an elopement, and I feel like it's such a great idea. And why not elope? And have you seen that? Like you've been doing this for how many years now? But like, did you see like a more increase of booking because of COVID with couples?
I definitely, like one of the photographers I talk to all the time. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is a COVID bride. They were having a big wedding, and now we're having an elopement in Colorado because they saw some like Facebook ad on like, oh, I can do that." Like most people don't realize that you don't just have to have a normal wedding. You can go do something else, and elopement doesn't have to mean like going to Vegas or going to a courthouse. It could be whatever you want. So
Right.
I think you should use this year, if you do have cancellations, you should just send them that video and be like, hey, like, I don't know if you thought about this, but like maybe you could go elope, or like I got some spots that'd be really awesome. Like let's talk to your photographer and see if we can still do it, because you still want to do those weddings even though COVID restrictions and things.
Yeah, definitely. And like what you said, like I want to put out there something that's gonna attract the couple that are looking for to elope, because that's something I want to try out as well. So where do you Holden, where do you get your couples mostly? Is it through Instagram? Is it through a photographer, or is it from the video that you put out there? How does that work for you guys?
I think it's a little bit of everything. We get a lot of inquiries from Instagram, and then we have gotten some from YouTube on some of our videos that are like more in the iconic places in Colorado. But a lot of our work is referral based off of like
Okay.
photographers or planners that we know in the industry.
Okay, and I know you mentioned that you guys are going to be filming at Yosemite, which is a beautiful spot, by the way. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I just finished up all of our Yosemite elopements from last year, and like Colorado is amazing and the mountains are beautiful, but the light is like you get 10 seconds of really good light, or like 10 minutes of really good light, and then that's it. And then it's just like, the mountains are pretty, but the lighting's not good. But when we were in Yosemite, it's like 30 minutes, 40 minutes of just like
Oh my
solid
God.
golden hour. And I was just like, oh, so beautiful out there.
Is this so you filmed at Yosemite? Is this video on YouTube?
Yes, we just made it public. It was closed for a while. We always send our videos through YouTube first to our couples, and then we say, hey, watch it, share it with all your people, and then we send them our online gallery with all the videos. And then this way we get views on our YouTube channel, and then all their family can watch it before we post it, just in case they might not, just in case somebody else sees it before the couple does. So we just make sure that they all watch it, and then we make our video live after a while. So it's on our YouTube channel, and let me see what it's called.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Where I didn't really see that on your website, but like I'm sure it's so beautiful there. That's one of my bucket list, Holden, like Yosemite. Get a wedding there. How many weddings do you guys do, by the way?
We try to limit it to at least 25 on the like max. Sometimes we'll do a little more, but we really try and keep it low just so that we can keep a good connection with our couples. We don't like to do too many. This is a teaser.
I love your shirt, by the way, Holden.
Oh, thank you so much.
Such a slick look, man. The orange look.
Yeah. So how many weddings do you guys normally do a year?
So I'm a nursing student, so I just got I'm just pretty new in the industry, I would say. So this year I booked for 38 total weddings.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean,
that's nuts.
I'm not traveling all over, you guys are. You probably will travel some other different state, but for us, we're all local in the Hudson Valley, and 38 weddings, and each of the couples, how I set up my packages is that, like, I give you a 5 to 6 minute highlight video, and it seems like you guys are doing the same thing as well. And just I give them the raw footage, so it seems more doable that way than compared to offering those couples like a 10 minute wedding video. I feel like the 5 to 6 minute video will be able to, it's gonna be okay with my workflow. So I'm really excited to be able to 38, but I'm sure it's like, I'm killing myself, but like at the same time, I love doing it. And then, just test the water,
Yeah, you'll figure it out. I think my first year we did, like first year as a company on my own, I think I did 30. I was trying to only do 25, and then I ended up doing like 33, I think. And it just like worked out. Like it all, depending on the spacing, like that may not be that much to you, but if they're all back to back, it's hard.
Yeah, it is a few of them are back to back.
Yeah, if our Yosemite elopement is on our YouTube, it says Yosemite elopement with incredible Taft Point sunrise is the title.
And
I don't think that one's on our website.
Okay, and you pretty much, your YouTube channel is backcountry Vows, which can be found on YouTube. And well, I'm curious, what was the name beforehand, before Backcountry Vows?
Our name was Royal Oak Films.
Okay.
Yeah, which
That's cool.
people love that name, but now that I'm in the industry, like I keep seeing so many people with like oak or tree, and I'm like, okay, good thing we rebranded. And we wanted something that was a little more open-ended to kind of be anything that we wanted to do with Backcountry Vows, instead of just having it be dedicated to only an elopement video company.
And I love that you use the royal on it, Royal Oak.
Yeah, like my good video friend, his company was like Royal in August, and he had rebranded when I met him, and he was like, dude, don't you know my other name? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, everything is just so similar. So yeah, we were glad to rebrand.
I feel like the royal will kind of attract like luxurious couples, because it has that royal, but like Royal Oak, I love it, man. Wait, so
Yeah,
so I love everything. Like, so I want to, I get 90% of my couples through Instagram, just because of like, how I branded myself, and like, it really just is important to brand yourself, and you can have like a really, really good video, but if your branding is really bad, you might not get the couple, because how you branded yourself. And what I see, the first time you followed me on my podcast page, when I looked into your page, it really is like, geared towards adventure couples, and like every how you laid out your photos and videos, like, is so perfect that it's like, it really, specific for those couples, like the adventure, the mountains. And you both did such a great job, branding yourself, and I feel like that's the most important thing. And again, I get 90% of my couples. So my question is, like, what I do for my end, like how I get my couples, is that, my Instagram, I have my Instagram, and then I would follow couples all over, venues and such. Is that what you guys necessarily do, or how do you guys grow your Instagram? Do you guys follow couples, or do you just get like, like exposure? How does that work for you guys?
It's interesting, because we do get a lot of like random couples liking or following our videos, but we try to interact with as many people as we can. Like, we'll go on and talk to a lot of photographers and message them on their pages, just to kind of build the relationship with as many people as we can, because it's really cool having people in the industry that you can talk to and just on a like casual basis. And once you like build those friendships, you're going to start getting more inquiries as well.
No, I go ahead.
I'm just trying to think of like it's just organically, I guess, as like from like a couple standpoint. A lot of times we have a lot of like the female is following us, and they like a video and they comment, and then they like message us on Instagram to see what our prices are and everything.
That's great. I mean, like, again, like I get 90% of my couples through Instagram, and I think it's been working out great. I feel like, Instagram can be such a time-consuming thing to have. I don't know about you, but I spend on Instagram like 24/7. But like, that's where I get my couples. But at the same time, it's like it's really just time-consuming. Where are you guys, going forward with your business? Like where do you guys see, your business going at? Like, are you guys gonna stay with that 25 wedding, or is there anything else that you guys are gonna transition to, or
No, we're only going to do video and only going to do adventure elopements. We may start making more travel and kind of YouTube videos based on our adventures, because we travel just as much as for our own adventures as we do for our own weddings or our work. But really, it's just the goal is to go, both of us be full-time, because right now I'm the only one that's full-time, and then Kaylin works another job. And we're hoping in the next year or so that we can both go full-time and then travel full-time as well.
So Holden, what is so I'm gonna be doing this full-time, and Maggie, who is my girlfriend, who's doing the videography with me as well. She's a nursing student. This is something that we want to do full-time in the future as well. Like, so what does Caitlin do currently as a, what does she do for a job, and then how is she, is that possible that you guys are going to do full-time in the near future? Can you see that happening soon?
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening, depending on what the kind of like bookings are like this year. And I think that'll give us a good idea of what we're gonna, because right now we're like almost there, but just to feel more comfortable, we'd like to wait a little longer. Kaylin is way better at a lot of things than me. She's really good at writing and talking to our clients and just interacting with everyone. So generally, if you're talking to us, she's the most likely the person messaging you. And then I work on all the video editing and that stuff. So I'm
does she do the editing sometimes, or not really?
Yeah, she does. She'll help with the edits, and she is amazing colorist. So she does all of our coloring for our videos, and I do all the editing and chop it up, and then she's like, that looks bad, you should redo it. And then I go back in, I'm like, okay, bye, I just spent like 3 days on that. Okay, I'll cut it up. And then
so do you actually, so when that happens, Holden, like I know Maggie, sometimes she, I edit this video like with my heart, and like it takes like 2 days, and then she says Andrie, I don't really like that. Like, do you actually like change it and then make it into her what she sees it as?
Yeah, we'll chop it up and re-edit it, and most of the time it's what it needed, because like you could feel like sometimes it feels good, but then if you let it sit for a while, you're like, okay, you were right, I was wrong.
No, really, I completely understand, because I feel like something about the girls, they see some things on the video that we don't typically see, but like we're literally staring on the screen and then looking back at this footage, but like I don't know, we might get sidetracked, but like I feel like having that second opinion maybe really matters. So I'll definitely keep that in track. But so you're color grading. Do you guys, what kind of profile picture do you guys use for your Sony A7S III?
So we're gonna shoot in log this year with that. Kaylin can do a really good job changing that back into like Rec 709 and then into like color profiles. I was hoping to use it because I like the dynamic range that it was coming out of there. But generally we shoot in like a natural, just normal profile on our cameras. We were going to try to shoot in like vlog, because we're still using the S1s as well and Rec 709, but messing with this S-Cinetone, I'm like really tempted to shoot in that profile It looks.
So that's
I
that's a new one, right? From that Sony A7S III just came out.
mhm. Yeah, they just released it 2 weeks ago, and I shot one commercial project with it, and it looked really good straight out of camera. Okay, we just kind of touched up in some areas, and so if you're looking for like a good workflow and like a quick process, excuse me, it'd probably be a really good profile to make your workflow faster if you're trying to save some time.
So I'm actually shooting a Cine 4 right now. Would you recommend some like for me to try the S Cinetone? Is that something you would recommend?
I don't know. You'd have to. I'm not a good. I haven't messed with Sony enough to be a good.
I guess you're a
called?
Panasonic person,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, I've been Panasonic since I was on a GH4, then the GH5, and then S1. So yeah, I've been Panasonic for the last 6 years.
Oh, really?
So,
So
yeah,
I mean, before we what do you call that? I don't want to waste more time, but like so for like what do you so elopement is becoming a big thing, you know. I feel like I want to do more elopements, and I feel like elopement is just gonna become a thing where, you know, I feel like couples just want to elope, and I see that trend here happening in New York where, you know, couples may just want to go to do elopement, you know, like instead of having a bigger wedding. But like what's the tell me more a little about the con and pros about, you know, being an elopement videographer. I don't know if they have a con, but like what, you know, what do you see being, because you've been doing, you know, you guys been doing wedding videography for elopements, but like what's the con and pros that, you know, people should know about or I should know about, you know, coming into that field?
I think we talked a lot about the pros already. I mean, it's so much more fun. Like one, it's really cool to get to meet the couple like a week before and go on adventures with them all leading up to their day and then do their wedding day. I think the cons are whether you don't have a space, like a spot to go and hide. You're like standing under a tree half the time if it's raining. But a lot of times we're like planning it. Colorado's pretty predictable, so we know when the weather's going to be bad. So we try and plan things around all that. But you never know sometimes.
Wait, before you answer
For
that, do you guys, so yeah, I've seen in your videos pretty much that like you have the ceremony, you put the ceremony where the couples, you know, say vows to each other, and also you have that, you know, you guys are hiking up to the mountain, you put that in the, you know, video. I'm not necessarily sure if you put the dancing. Is that like a thing for elopements? Do they have like dancing parties at the end of the night?
more often, no. We do like first dances a lot of times up on the mountain somewhere or up in the valley, wherever we are. Most of the times when we go back to the house, if they have an Airbnb or something, it's more of like an intimate, like let's sit down with our family and hang out instead of a dance. And sometimes we'll do like a dance portion there. It's not that often that it's something very crazy, but there are like travel elopements and things like that. And I've seen plenty of people who have some crazy parties with their couples in other countries. So
No, that's what I was imagining. I feel like, you know, I don't really know how that elopement goes, but like, you know, I love to put the dancing at the end of the, you know, one of my videos. So I was just kind of curious about like how elopements are. But yeah, I mean, aside from, you know, like the con about the weather for, you know, it's unpredictable when you're, you know, when you're outside doing elopements, but like aside from that, it seems like, is there anything that you know?
I think for me, it's like, I wish I could have more audio backups to record really good audio. And it's like, I can only mic them up so many times. And if like one mic has an issue, then the other mic has an issue. Like I don't have like a microphone to have a backup, or, you know, it's
right.
So I think that's a challenge, but easily fixed. I think carrying the gear, like if you're not in shape, then it's hard for sure to carry all the gear up as a videographer. Like we have so much stuff that we bring on our, just to capture it all. To do it well, you have to bring it all.
It seems like you guys are pretty fit though. You guys do like a lot of like, you know, outside activities, you know, and you know, with the audio and stuff, like do you use the Tascam DR10? Do you have problems with that being outside?
So last year I had problems because I was really trying to hide the mics as best I could, just to see if we could work something out like that. And just the way that I was miking them, I had a lot of like issues where it got pulled off, or just I had scratching, and then
Oh, okay.
I really like, so that I had issues with that last year, but with the wind and everything, those DR10Ls do pretty well. And then we have like dead cats to go on them as well.
Okay.
And then we just mic them for the vows, and then after that we take it off. And I always like having so many backups. Like we have mics on our cameras, we have 2 mics on the groom, and if we can, we'll mic the bride. But I just wish I could have like a boom, someone carrying a boom and like
have
micing
you
them
seen
up.
that? Have you seen that like photo in the weddings where these photographers had it like they were literally like holding in front of the ceremony, they're holding like this stand, and then it has like the mic on top of it, and like they were just in the middle of it, but and I know, like, so the reason I asked, because I have a test from the R10, I don't want to f it up, so hearing that, like, the problem that you have was pretty much just kind of like like being like
I just had
caught into
scratching.
the
It was just
okay.
Yeah, it was me messing it up. But
You only have one job.
yeah.
Okay.
I got like 10 jobs. I gotta put 2
Oh
cameras
yeah,
up,
that's true. That's
mic
true.
them
And
up.
do you put the tripod, or you guys? I know you do the during the ceremony. Do you guys have the tripod at the back, or is it normally like you guys are holding the cameras?
It kind of depends on the day. If we have 2 of us there, I will one of us be like on a wide, and then one of us will do tights, and then we'll have a tripod set up on somewhere in the back as well, just to like as a safety shot. Sometimes, like depending on the wedding, I'll just shoot it all handheld, and I'll have, like, if I'm solo, I'll just carry 2 cameras and do some wide shots, and then
2
transition
cameras
to
at the
like
same
tights.
time?
No,
Two
no. That would be so heavy. I'd have to like tape them together, and then
Right.
because I'm using a 70 to 200, so I have a harness that uses for dual cameras, so I will like shoot some wides and then set it down on my side, and then I'll pull out my tight camera and I'll shoot the vows on tight.
I could imagine, being in, filming a wedding elopements, you really have to be, fast, because like I feel like the photographer that I worked at specific, that's the elopement. She's really quick with her camera, man. Like, she got the camera, she just kind of like takes it out, and then the next thing she has the other camera. So I could imagine how that could be difficult for you guys, moving cameras around during the day.
Yeah, I think the other hard part is just light, and trying to work with the lightest in a quick, like trying to set up all our gear in a time that we can still use the light really well.
And do you guys use ND filters by any chance? Because it seems like you have like your video is so crisp. Like, how do you use ND filters with all your cameras?
Yes, we do. That was something that we didn't do early on as videographers, because I was like, I only want to buy the best of the best, but I don't want to spend that money right now. Like, let's just wait. And that was a huge mistake. Having the ND filters, we use a variable ND on all of our cameras, and it helps so much with getting the right exposure and having the bokeh in the background if your style of video
and you guys don't mess around with a shutter, right? Like, you guys pretty much just use the ND filter. Okay. Well,
what
good
do you
to
guys
know.
do?
I don't have any ND filter.
You should buy one.
Yeah, buy one. No, I'm asking you. That's why it's like your quality seems so great. I don't want to mess up, because I haven't been doing a lot of weddings. So coming from you, ND filter is a must. I should be able, I should get those for my wedding. So what kind of ND do you guys get? Is it like the cheaper ones that you guys get? Like I know there's like a less than $100 one.
I think you should at least spend $100. I feel like the Samad. They have like $150 ones. I have a lot of people who really like those that I know. We are using the Polar Pro, like the Peter Brinkinen edition, the first edition ones.
Okay.
I like the look that comes out of them. If you're using, I've noticed on like a 16, if you're using like a 16 to 35, when you're like super wide, I get some vignetting in the corners, but I think that might be part of the like 16 as well.
And I'm sorry to ask a lot of questions, but
no.
When you're doing have you looked into the Polar Pro Mist with the ND variable with Peter McKinnon? Is that something that you guys want to try for your work, or not really?
I've always wanted to use a Pro Mist filter on our films, just to like give it that like little extra like filmic look. but
Mhm.
I've heard like mixed feelings on what people do, and a lot of people just do it in post. They use film convert and they'll add
Okay.
like a filmic look to it. There are some like difficulties using the mist filters, and I just don't know if it would, I don't know if it would make my job easier or harder to have them.
Mm.
So I've just always just sticked with the just the normal filters. We had a vintage lens for a while, and I really liked the look that came out of that, but it just didn't quite fit with the style that we were going for. So
Mhm.
we just try to stick. We like the like sharpness of it.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about, getting the polar mist, but like I feel like it kind of, like you mentioned that you can do the in post production, but I don't want to mess around with it. I should just get the polar ND filter first, and then
Hmm.
work with that first. But I don't, I was kind of just having, I'm always thinking about my work, like, well, maybe this might look good with the mist, but like, coming from you, maybe it might not be a great idea, with that
I think it's
mist.
all I think it's all preference. I think you might have to try it out and see if it works with your workflow and your style, because it might not fit your style of videography or your style that you're looking for in your like color or the film look that you're trying to go for. So it's one of those things where you just got to try it and see. I
Mhm.
think that's a struggle that we go through as videographers. It's like, well, I don't know exactly what I like for my style, and then I gotta buy it
Right.
or
No,
rent it.
I'm in stuck holding. I'm in this phase where I'm constantly thinking, debating about two lenses I should get. I don't know if you were in that position before, but like I'm looking into the, should I get the should I get the Sigma 35, or should I get the Zeiss 40? Like, did you ever, like, that's a problem that I'm like struggling right now. Like I'm debating between two lenses. What have you learned so far when, like when you're in that phase, or have you been in that spot where you're kind of like looking to like
Oh
which
yeah.
lens might, look good? And like, because I don't want to waste my time. I hate the
Hmm.
feeling being stuck in this middle. What have you learned so far, when you're in that spot, and like,
So you're on Sony then?
yeah, I'm in Sony. I'm thinking about a Sigma 35, or there's a Zeiss 40 millimeter, and
Hmm.
I have the Sigma 30 and on a mirrorless Sony A6600, which is converted to like a what do you call that? I think focal length wise, it would be a 45, and I love the
Hmm.
45 milliliter look on the gimbal. So it's either the 45, 35, 40. So like, when you're in a situation, what do you advise me? And like, what should I learn about?
I think that's a challenge that we all go through for sure. And even like now, like we pretty set on our equipment, but I'm always like, I wonder what this would look like. Should I get a 24? Or like this 35 is like a little too tight, but maybe like 50 would be right. I
Mhm.
think it's just something that like we as videographers, we like always want to buy stuff to like see to step up our game. And I always say that like if your workflow is if it's working, then why change it? If you're finding that it's not quite the style that you're looking for, or something is hurting your workflow or your video style, then go and start looking for an option. I think that renting lenses is a really good option. People always say that, but I'm like, I'd rather just spend the money and buy it. And then if
Yeah.
I don't like it, I could return it quick enough, or I could sell it on Craigslist or try and find a trade for it or something. Like I always look for deals on things and try and find the best option if I can. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's like one of those battles where you like, my recommendation is just to try it, because it's all just off preference. Like I was talking to someone and they use an 85 only for video,
Mm.
because they want to just have they want to be the easiest, quickest possible on the wedding day. So he's like, I love the 85. I'm just going to only shoot on that. So it's all like, you just have to find something that works for you and your preference, and trying them out, unfortunately, is the best way to do it.
No, I know. I mean, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos having that same lens, and I just couldn't get it. Like it's still stuck with me. Like, what I really wanna, yeah, like what you said. You really just have to try it out. So I
Hmm.
don't want to I don't want to rent lenses, because you're kind of losing money. So I'd
Yeah.
rather
And
just buy it and then sell it, like what you said.
I
So.
always feel that I need like 2 or 3 days of shooting with it to feel and like watch the
Mhm.
film and like see what I didn't like the first day I shot with it, and then like kind of tweak it as I go, and then I can kind of find out whether or not it's a good option or not.
Right.
It's,
And
I agree. Like I feel like it's always just better just to buy it, try it out for a while, a season, see how it is, and then if not, then you figure out what you use most often when it's in your bag.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of worried about the workflow, like what you mentioned. It might, if I buy a complete different lens, how I've been shooting, it might, mess up my workflow. It might take me longer. Or I might not get the look that I'm getting for, but like I'm just experimenting, I guess. I have 38 weddings and see if I'm, I'll have some time. So thank you for that.
You got lots of time. You got lots of time to try out whatever you want.
I know. Anyways, I really appreciate your time, Holden. I don't want to take more time away from you, but like, I'm glad I was able to talk to you and kind of have an idea about elopement videography, because you both are killing it, with the, especially with the branding that you guys did. It's really impressive, because I've only seen different companies out there, that can create a brand that really, stick out there. And, like I don't know if what, was it Live Oak Films, coming to the Oak one, Live Oak Films, like stuff like, if those videographer, like their brand stuck up to me because they really did a pretty good job, especially you guys. The Backcountry Vows, brand is such a great, how do you guys, combine it into this, such brand where it's mountains, adventure, it seems like it's working out for you guys. So I feel like it's such an inspiration being able to see what you guys are doing. And, I hope that I could transition as well in the future, doing some elopements, but what you guys are, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, but like the same time, it's hard to just kind of like, focus into that elopement, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity with the COVID, everyone's, doing elopement. So we'll see where it goes, but you guys are doing great. I keep killing it, and I hope Caitlin can do this full time with you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys doing this more in the future. You guys are doing it, but like Caitlin can join in, and can't wait to see that journey, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. That means a lot. Like coming from somebody else, it's really big.
Really.
I mean, you're killing it too. You're doing a bunch of stuff this year, and it's really exciting.
We'll see. We'll see with COVID and stuff, man. But I'm glad. I don't know if you're still gonna be in like Clubhouse, but I just kind of like listen in the background. I'm kind of shy out there, so I'm just listening to you guys.
You can't be shy. You have a podcast. What are you talking about?
It's different, man. Like the dynamic about like the Clubhouse is kind of like, how like you're in school, right? And like you're in the back seat, and like your teacher, you're pretty much a teacher. You're trying to call in someone, and that's how I feel like. It's funny.
Yeah, it can be challenging, like being in some of the rooms, man. They just like, they're so quick, and they're just like, okay, get to the point, tell me what you want, now I'm gonna give you my recommendation, and then you go do it. Okay, bye. And you're like, okay, thanks.
That's funny. No, so you guys are still gonna you're gonna be in Clubhouse,
feel free
right?
to join us.
No, definitely. I think
Just
you were cutting. I think the best timing. I think it's cutting now. Holden, sorry. I guess that was a wrap for the podcast.
Hello.
Holden, I'm sorry. I think that's a great time to end now because of the internet's being weird.
I mean, I'm always on Clubhouse, so if anyone wants to talk, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well,
wait, hold it. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Hey. Yes, I can hear you. Looks like you got service now.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. It's the best time to end now, I guess, because the internet being weird. But like, yeah. Thank you again, and we'll keep in touch, Holden. Thanks again.
Yes. It was great talking to you. Have a good day.
You too, man. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.